This is Dan. It's second day of our sand sculpting competition, Revere Beach. As you remember yesterday, everybody was doing their pound-ups where they're compacting their sand into water and boxes and stuff. But Paul here, our English Irishman, is doing what we call soft pack. You know, I think Meredith touched on this yesterday, but he just uses the pile the way it is without forms to create his masterpiece here. It looks like we can find a mama and looks like two babies coming out of the sand here. But this is a technique that not too many people use in this caliber of competition. So it's nice to see that because he's not going through all the shoveling. It's a much easier way to utilize your 10, 12, 15 tons of sand. And when he gets done with this thing, it's really going to pop. I've seen his work before, so I'm really looking forward to what's going on here. How you like the sand, Paul?
Fantastic. It's the best sand in America.
Yeah. Yep, I think so too. I think so. What we use here, I don't know if Meredith touched on it yesterday, is granite dust. It's the finest of the fine of decomposed granite. It's just like talcum powder. It's about the same size as a water molecule, and it just holds onto itself. And thusly we can get these vertical and undercuts and all the different techniques we have in the sand. We're here with Sue McGrew in plot number 2. It rhymes. She's building something that's very symmetrical. I have no idea what it is yet, but knowing Sue, it's going to be fantastic. You see, she's taking her top two forms off. You can see where the first one was, and the second one. And I don't know why we really call them forms, because they're not really forms. All they do is contain the sand while we're building them. It's not like a concrete form where you pull it off and that's your finished product. It's not at all like that here. We only use these so that we can compact the sand and go up more vertical quicker, because if we didn't use forms, we'd end up more with something like Paul's got over here. It's kind of roundish and low lying on the ground. So I'm excited about Sue being here, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do.
Guess what? I'm going to take off my bottom form.
Yeah.
And I'll have all my forms off.
I know, that's kind of new for you.
It's going to be the last day.
Typically, Sue is still pounding up at this.
I hand stacked all this morning.
So, did you really?
Yeah. From here to here, maybe.
Oh, nice. You feel the difference?
Yeah, sort of, kind of.
Yeah. Do you use a compactor in here, or do you use water? I mean, I know you use water, but...
I used a lot of water.
Okay. Yeah.
It got pretty mushy.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how it's gonna...
Yeah.
Because I kept cutting into it, and then you could tell where those places
Sure.
drained out. There was those soft areas.
That's the thing with this sand. It likes to hold on to itself. It's like plywood when it all goes together. But the problem is, it's the same size as a water molecule, so it doesn't really want to drain too fast. You know, and when you get down to the bottom here, all the water's sitting right in there, and it has a tendency to be a little bit mushy, so you got to be careful. All right, Sue, we're going to move on, carry on. We're here with Dimitri's piece in plot number 3. Dimitri's from St. Petersburg, Russia. It's kind of coming to shape now. It looks like there's a man in a mask splitting apart here. An evil-looking mask. I have no idea what he's doing here, but it's early. Like I said, it's just the first day of carving. And it's pretty interesting so far. He's got a pretty good degree of difficulty in here by carving it straight down, which, you know, sand likes to stand in a pyramidal shape. But with this sand, you can get away with a lot of cuts and vertical surfaces, and I think he's going to push this to the limit. We've gone around to the back of Dimitri's sculpture now, and here's Dimitri working on it. And if you look at it from the side, it's very sheer. It's probably at an 80-degree angle, you know, which is it's real difficult for sand to stay in this at this angle. He still keeps cutting. I think that this is going to be a very daring piece. And how do you feel about the sand, Dimitri?
Amazing.
Isn't it something?
Amazing sand.
Yeah.
Well, you see.
Yeah, of course.
Possibilities.
You can do stuff with this sand that you can't do with most sands in the world. That's what's so beautiful about it. Most sand is like the beach sand here that gets washed and round, and then it loses all of its little stuff, all its fine things in it, and you end up with a little gravel that won't stick together. Whereas this stuff is so fine, it just loves to hang on to itself. And thus you can get away with this kind of stuff. Looks beautiful so far, Dimitri.
Thank you.
Are you happy with the progress?
With what?
Your progress. Are you happy with where you are?
Never had. Of course never had.
Yeah.
Should do better.
Yeah. Well, that's a typical artist attitude. So, okay, Dimitri, we'll leave you alone. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, thank you.
We're here with Suzanne in plot number 4 from the Netherlands, and oh, it looks like a very classic kind of piece coming out here from Suzanne. Suzanne, what do you think of this sand?
I love it. It's very nice. It's very strong, very clean. Perfect.
You can do a lot with it, huh? With vertical and cut throughs and stuff.
Yeah.
We all love it a lot. It's a lot of work putting it together, but boy, if you put it together right, you can do just about anything with this sand.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your progress so far?
I'm still looking a bit, but yes, I'm happy. Yeah.
That's it. You know, you got to evolve with the piece. I mean, if you're a true artist, you can't just draw and say, I'm going to do this, because there's so many variables in this stuff. And all of a sudden you might see something that you never saw before.
Exactly,
And you got to make it pop. Well, I know you're going to do great because you do. That's what you do.
Thank you.
And that's why you're here.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Well, carry on here and
Okay,
look forward to it.
thanks.
Yep. We're here with Deb Catuli, our local girl. And she's well underway here. I think it's the first time she's done a pound up all by herself in a competitive atmosphere here. And she did very well. I guess, is this your model, Deb, for what you're doing here?
Yes.
This is it, huh?
Oh no!
Yeah, that.
Me answer
It,
without
loo-
looking.
it looks
This is
close.
my little good luck charm.
Oh, well, we just did some advertising here.
Going.
Are you happy with the sand, Deb?
Yes, it's unbelievable. The sand is amazing.
Yeah.
Really is amazing.
What do
I
you
love
like-
it.
What do you like best about the sand here?
Well, it holds so well.
Yeah.
It really does hold well. And it's so, you just can walk away from it for so long, even if you don't spray it. And you come back to it and it's
Right.
still in the same condition.
Yeah.
I think I've used the water like twice on this.
Yeah. Well, you can see if you do your pound upright, this is just like a soft piece of
Unbelievable.
stone here, you know, and if you do it too well, it wears you out trying to carve in this stuff
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
true.
just like carving a soft piece of
It's
stone.
true. This is hard and this is soft because I did this with my
Sure,
small
there's
forms and I didn't wet it enough. But it's
Right.
still working.
that's the reason we use the wooden forms so that we can compress it in there, and we really have a piece of stone like Michelangelo had to chip away on. So looks good, Deb. Are you having fun?
And I'm having fun.
Well, it's time to step it up, huh?
know,
You're with the big dogs now.
I know. I know.
Well, carry on, Deb.
Thanks, honey.
You bet. We're with Andrus Petkis. He's from Lithuania. He's a true artist. I mean, you can just see by what he's got going here. He's got the smooths, he's got the textures, he's got the flow of this thing, he's got the movement, and he's also got a lot of difficulty. If you look at the side of this thing, he's 8 feet straight up and down, which is not something you can do with any kind of sand in the world. So what he's doing right now is he's carving the top part here to take some of the weight out of it, so that when he pulls this next form, it's not quite so heavy. And definitely when he pulls the bottom form off, there's a lot of weight that's pushing down in that little 2-3 foot form here. So it's a very strategic sculpture he's got going now. Andrus, what do you think of this sand?
Oh, the best I ever carved, because really like butter.
Yeah.
And when it's compact, it's like frozen butter. Like really, you feel that it's strong,
Yeah.
but it's so nice to work with this.
Yeah.
Really, no stones. nothing.
It's a very unusual sand because in Florida we use a sand that gets harder, turns back into coral, you know, but it's got a lot of stones and pebbles in it, and it's a little rough. Whereas this is just like talcum powder. It has nothing in it. Once in a while you'll come across a stone, but this is about as fine as you can get. And like I say, when you're that fine, it holds onto the water and you can do things like this. So I'm really looking forward to him getting this all the way out, because you know we give points for danger too, and if you really push the element, this sand, it's good sand, but you can push this sand too far also. So he's being very smart here, very smart. It's going to be beautiful, I know.
I don't know. It's risky, huh?
Yeah,
it's very risky. Yeah.
It's risky, but that's what you do at this level. You have
Because
to.
Our eyes, we don't see how the water goes, how fast goes down. You don't know. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. You know, it's like, where's the time, correct time to take the form next? Yeah.
Right. Well, we have, but what he was trying to say is, you know, as this water's draining down, of course, it all ends up here in this bottom form before it dissipates out onto the beach. So if he takes his form off too soon, or this form off too soon, it could be too wet to hold its shape and might just mush down. So he's going to spend as much time as he can up here, because he still has to reach this. He'll take this form off, and hopefully when he takes the bottom form off, there's enough water has evaporated out of this stuff to be safe. That's right. So, all right, it looks great, man. We'll talk to you again. See you. We're here with Steve Tapazio from Rhode Island. Of course, yesterday he was pounding up. He started carving a little bit last night. Now it's kind of starting to take shape. See his drawing there? I'm not gonna get close up with the drawing because I really don't want to know what he's doing yet at this point. I just wanted to find out if he's happy with the sand he's playing with here. What do you think, Steve?
I love this sand. I think it's still the best in the world.
Yeah.
What we do. I mean, I haven't been as many places as you have, but you know, it's still. I still come back to the hometown sand.
No, it is about the finest, best carving sand at a professional level. Of course, it's not cheap to get here. This comes all the way from New Hampshire, you know, and it's processed. It's decomposed granite, like I say, and they process it in a way that they take out all the stones, and this is what's left. It's really the tailings after they screen all the sand out of this granite, decomposed granite. But it's perfect for us. I think the only thing they might use this on is maybe road bases or something because it packs so well, but it's probably the best professional sand sculpting sand in the world, and I think everybody agrees with that here. Are you happy with the progress on your piece so far, Steve?
Yeah. It's again, like I told you guys before, I get inspirations from tattoos. I'm kind of trying to bring in a tattoo to 3D life here. Because the sand is what it is, and the drawing I'm going by has a lot of shadows. I'm able to cut in, and I don't care.
Well, that's the key.
That's the key.
The key to this is shadow, because if you liken this to a black and white drawing, that's all we have. There's no color, so all this is shadow. And what's the problem with, not really a problem, but what we learn to live with is our shadow changes all day. As the sun comes up, the sun comes down. So all day long we're tweaking these things because we got to make sure that the shadow is correct where we cut. So
I remember back in the day, Dan, and you've always given me great advice that you gotta cut in. You gotta really cut in. Don't be afraid. Don't cut in. Just cut in. Keep cutting in. Don't worry about this stuff. It's strong, and you know you're right. You were very right. So
yeah,
I'm taking that advice everywhere I go and testing the sand with what I have. But this is still the best.
Yeah. Well, what he's talking about is cutting in to make those shadows. It's kind of like if you're drawing a black and white thing. Only when you get those dark lines in those does it really pop, and that's what he's doing here. He's got some cut throughs too, which is dangerous, you know. And I'm really looking forward to see what you got going here, Steve.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, carry on. We're here with Leonardo Ugolini, and it looks like he's taking off his third form down. Because a lot of times it's easier. We wish we could take all the forms off. If we could reach the top, we would, because it's easier to visualize where you're starting and where you're going to end up. You can almost sketch it on there so you can see where you're going. But he's pulling the second form off so he can do just that. He's dried out enough to where he's not worried about the water in it and sagging on it. And that way he'll be able to visualize. He's also got, I don't know if can you get on this, Bob? He's got a little piece up front here, a very delicate piece of a sailing ship. And it's so, if you could look at this, it's only about an 1/8 inch thick when it comes through the top here. But yet this sand is so good, if you're careful, you can do something like this. And Leo's really the only sculptor here that can pull something like this off. He's a very, very, very detailed artist. I love what he does. So now, are you happy with this sand, Leo?
Yeah, I am happy.
Yes.
Sand.
What do you like about the sand?
Well, because it's very fine, very clean. It's possible to do a lot of details, and also it's very strong sand. Of course, when you have with this kind of sand, you need time to do a very nice details. Yeah, but it's nice. Yeah.
I think didn't you go to school for architecture or engineering? Didn't you go to school for that?
Yeah, I study architecture, but this is completely different.
Yeah. Well, this is different. But when I first met Leo about 20 years ago, he was doing castles in Italy, but he's making the pieces individually and making these castles from the ground up instead of the way we go from the sky down to the ground. Incredible stuff he used to do, and where he's come in the last 20 years is just phenomenal. So, well, you can tell by his work here that it's going to be exciting. He did well here last year too, so I'm looking forward to it, Leo.